Madam President, we are pleased to see you preside over this debate, an important and timely discussion convened by the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and that has attracted strong participation among member states, including several distinguished ministers who are present in the chamber and who we warmly welcome. And I would like to thank the Secretary General for his comprehensive statement, and also thank DG WTO, Madam Okanjo Iweala, for her briefing. Madam President, natural resources have all along shaped human destiny, dictating where civilization settled and how they grew and prospered. From the fertile river valleys of Mesopotamia that birthed agriculture to the coal and oil deposits that fueled the Industrial Revolution, raw materials have continually driven geopolitical power and technological innovation. Today, the strategic importance of natural resources is increasing as the world transitions towards clean energy, artificial intelligence, advanced manufacturing, and digital technologies. Competition, rather the scramble for natural and critical minerals, is consequently becoming a defining geopolitical reality of our times. Ideally, natural resources should serve as instruments of sustainable development and prosperity. They must not become sources of conflict, coercion, or exploitation. Yet, in many contexts, weak governance, illicit extraction, external interference, violations of international law and the UN Charter, and the unequal distribution of benefits continue to fuel instability and conflict and exacerbate humanitarian crises. It is particularly visible in Africa. Pakistan has long stood in solidarity with African countries in their pursuit of sovereign control over their natural wealth. Africa's experience demonstrates that resource wealth can contribute to affluence with peace only when accompanied by strong institutions, transparency, national ownership, and prioritizing people's welfare. And President, DRC's own example is illustrative. For decades, the illicit exploitation and trafficking of natural resources have financed armed groups and deprived the Congolese people of the benefits of their country's immense natural wealth. Strengthened traceability mechanisms, including the lessons from the Kimberley process, responsible supply chains, and regional cooperation are essential to disrupt conflict financing and ensure that these resources support sustainable development. And as the Secretary General referred to justice and prevention, we also need to ensure that resource-rich developing countries are equal partners in global supply chains and value addition, rather than mere suppliers of raw materials. Responsible investment, local processing, technology transfer, skills development, and equitable revenue sharing must remain central to international cooperation. Sustainable peace cannot be achieved where immense natural wealth coexists with persistent poverty and underdevelopment. It's a recipe for conflict. Natural resource governance must remain firmly anchored in the UN Charter and international law. The right of peoples to permanent sovereignty over their natural wealth and resources, as enshrined in General Assembly Resolution 1803, remains fundamental. International cooperation must strengthen national capacities while respecting national ownership, priorities, and policy space. Madam President, these principles apply not only to minerals, but also to water, forests, and shared ecosystems. The lawful and cooperative management of shared transboundary resources is indispensable to preventing conflict, peaceful settlement of disputes, and promoting friendly relations among neighboring states. Contrary to this spirit, our eastern neighbor has sought to weaponize water against Pakistan by abusing its status as the upper riparian, unilaterally and illegally placing the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance, a course of action for which neither the treaty nor the general principles of international law provide any basis whatsoever. Pakistan categorically rejects this unlawful action, which directly threatens the livelihoods and well-being of over 240 million people of Pakistan. The Indus Waters Treaty remains valid, binding, and fully in force, as reaffirmed by the August 2025 award of the Court of Arbitration. No state should be permitted to abuse shared water resources as an instrument of coercion or political pressure, much less when it breaches solemn treaty obligations. Madam President, that this is happening in the backdrop of Jammu and Kashmir dispute, a long-standing flashpoint in South Asia, carries grave risks for international peace and security. The Security Council has an important responsibility where the exploitation or weaponization of natural resources threatens international peace and security, whether through the illicit exploitation of minerals that fuels and perpetuates conflict, or the unilateral actions to exploit shared natural resources as instruments of coercion in disregard of international law and binding treaty obligations. Such actions require Council's continued vigilance. The Council should make full use of the tools at its disposal, including preventive diplomacy, peaceful resolution of disputes, sanctions regimes, and monitoring mechanisms to address these threats. Madam President, natural resources should unite nations in cooperation rather than divide them in conflict. They must be harnessed to promote sustainable development, shared prosperity, and lasting peace. Pakistan remains committed to working with all member states to ensure that the world's natural wealth serves the interests of humanity, strengthens international cooperation, and contributes to a more peaceful, stable, and equitable world. I thank you.